Good morning, welcome back to Ecocentric. I had to give you an update on the squash that I'm storing because some of them are going bad. It's this one, you know, the one that gave me so much squash last year. Most of them were, I picked smaller like this. And there are various genetics. This one is turning orange, but it started to get spots on it. So these little black spots, it's soft inside here. One of them had a few spots over it, and then this whole hen was gone bad. I checked them and there was none with spots on them. A few days later I come back and there was one with spots pretty much all over it, and I went to pick it up and it just crumbled. It's just gone completely to mush inside. So I'm going to cut this one and see how much bad is in it. Break off this top here if I can. Now I'm going to make puree out of them because I don't want any more of them to go bad. And of course I can't eat them all at once. Going to have to use a cleaving knife. So now, how much? Doesn't look like this one is much to it at all. I just had to cut off those two pieces where the spots are. Yeah, so good. This one is still good all the way through. Now, something I learned just the other day, I believe it was Little Mountain Ranch. She has a proper scraper. Now, where did I put that? Has a proper scraper for taking out the seeds out of squash, but she said you can use the lid from just a regular canning lid. So yeah, this is much easier than trying to do it with a spoon. Just like that. Yeah, that works excellent. Just a regular canning lid. Sometimes you might want to use a smaller one. I've got the wide mouth one here. And to make puree, first I have to bake them. So you put them on a baking sheet. Line them up on a baking sheet and you bake them, and then of course you got to scoop it out and puree it afterwards. Thinking I should take all the smaller ones first because it might be that they weren't fully mature. That might be the reason they're going bad. I don't know. Oh, this one's really hard. And the seeds are not fully developed. The inside core is still hard, so I'm going to just bake this just like this. Not going to worry about few underdeveloped seeds in it, but I will try to get out those on hedge here that I can. That's the oven. I'm preheating it at 350, if you heard that beep. Speaking of botulism, botulism is a soil-borne bacteria. This is where you'll get it. So, I'm going to wash that first. There's nothing here of benefit, so that can go in the compost. Vegetable marrow is what they are. If you get them formed like this. These first two are some kind of a mixture apparently, because this one's turning orange and that one is kind of the wrong shape. But this is what vegetable marrow will look like. And the two big ones that I've got save seeds on, they are, I'm pretty sure, vegetable marrow as well. Well, that one wasn't going to go bad. Yep, just a creamy colored flesh, vegetable marrow. It's not as juicy as the other one either. See, the plan here is to save those seeds and roast them later, once I figure out how to do that. Yeah, when you're scooping out seeds, I don't use this trick here, just the canning lid. So I'm going to turn the camera off, and if I find one that's gone bad like I was telling you about, then I'll turn it back on and show you. I found one, only the one. But you see the spots that's on it? Now we'll cut that open. See how easy the knife went through the skin? Now it's gone mushy right into here on the back end. You see, so once those spots are there, I've already lost quite a bit of the squash. It's not just the surface level blemish. That's what's been happening. I'm going to put this one in a dish, put it in to roast, because I had to cut it all up. It's just a fungus, so it won't hurt going in the compost. Now, the other one I want to show you, remember, this was, I think, the first one I harvested, because the frost, we had a late frost, but we didn't have, it didn't kill the plants, not by a long shot, just a couple of edges on the leaves. But I found this one that was split. But he seemed to be perfectly well. It's a little bit soft there, but he seemed to be holding up quite well. Now let's see if he did actually hold up inside. Yeah, no problem. This is a perfectly good squash, and even though it was cracked, it didn't deteriorate. There they are. So remember, botulism is a soil-borne bacteria. Keep your food processing area clean. 240 degrees is required to kill botulism. I'm baking this at 350. So by the time this is baked, there should be no botulism in this to cause a problem. I took these out, and of course I was doing other things today, multitasking. But these were in the oven for about an hour and a half on 350. And I put them out there just to let them cool. Nice thing about letting them cool is that most of the water either evaporated or was reabsorbed. I'd say more was reabsorbed than evaporated. So the juice that would have just drained off now is back into the pumpkin. I don't know which way is the best to scoop the flesh out of these yet, and I'm going to try the canning lid just like I did with the seeds. That was hurt. Very helpful. Right along the top, though, of course, it dried out in the oven, right? Push that back. Just like skinning a fish. Now the knife is going to be best. Just cut the curved part. Keep cutting it in narrower and narrower strips so that you can get it pretty much flat. So I'll do this piece entirely with the knife. I can grab the end. Oh. So you gotta turn the blade up just enough that it'll skim along the skin, not cut through it. So I ended up getting this pot almost full, and as I said, a lot of the liquid was reabsorbed. Now I was planning on putting this in the blender, but as you can see, when I put it in the pot, the liquid is flowed out. So what I want to do is use the immersion blender and blend this down. Now I want to measure out how much I have here. You'll see why in a minute. So 17-18 cupfuls. Pumpkin is a low acid food. On top of that, when you're making puree, getting a preservative into the center is another difficulty. So they say you have to pressure can it, and even that they kind of frown on. Say you freeze your pumpkin puree. But there's of course two things. What do you do when you've got a low acid food? There's two preservatives, of course, two ways to preserve. You can use sugar, or you can use an acid such as acetic acid, lemon juice, lime juice, or vinegar. Now what you're going to put in there, of course, really depends on how you want to use it, how you're planning on using it. I'll be doing cooking, whether it be soup or pancakes or something like that, so I can use vinegar. White vinegar will have the mildest taste. If you use other ones, then it's going to impart its own taste onto the puree. But I'm only putting in 1 tablespoon per 2 cups. So I had 18 cups, I need 9 tablespoons. That would amount to one tablespoon per 500 ml bottle. Now I have to blend it again, of course. And just to see, How much can I taste the vinegar on this? You can't really taste the vinegar at all. 18 cups. That should amount to 9 bottles. Another thing about squash puree, like this is cooled down now. Give it a little extra headroom. So normally 1 inch would be up to the bottom of this funnel here, but I'll leave it a little bit below. There's a space between the puree and the bottom of the funnel. So remember, we baked this at 350. That should have destroyed any of the botulism spores or bacteria that would have been in it, because botulism comes from soil, and now we have no contact with soil since this has been cooked. So your only other concerns are fungus, molds, and any airborne bacteria that would have gotten in there. I have to get you down. I don't want cat ears in my puree. Down, 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 down. Go on. Down. There's some left there, but it's not another full bottle. Of course, make sure your lid is clean. Clean hands. Run your finger around here so that if there's any variation in the top at all, you can feel it. Inspect the lid for any damage. This is a brand new lid. On finger tight. Not even quite that, actually. This is a used lid. The seal still has some softness to it, so technically it could be used, but you see the finish has some spots on it, and so it's not a good idea to use this for anything that has any liquid in it, for sure. I mean, I could use it to put say dried herbs in a bottle or something. Now this one has been used, you can tell, because there is an indentation in the seal, but the seal is still quite soft. There's no damage on the finish at all, and if you look at it, see, I took it off carefully off whatever it was used on before, so it's still in perfectly good shape. When a company makes these, of course, they can't guarantee that they are going to work past the first use. So they say use a new one every time to hold up their guarantee. So, even though you can reuse lids past its first use, it's use at own risk, and you have to take them off carefully when you do take them off your bottles. It's a new one. And I had to step out to get one more lid. There's that. For water bath canning, you technically need a stock pot deep enough that you can get the water an inch above your bottles. Because it was a stock pot, I ended up having to make myself a thing to raise it up off the bottom. So I took a piece of supposed to be stainless steel, cut a circle, notches, wrapped them around, so I got it off the bottom of space, drilled a bunch of holes, and in there it goes. Now the bottles won't be sitting on the bottom of the stock pot. Put a thing of water in, turn this on. That's all this stock pot takes is 8. There. See, it's above the bottles. I'll put the lid on. And I'll let that come to a boil. And let it boil at least 10 minutes. I'm not worried if it goes over 10 minutes. Of course, if you let it sit there too long, then you're cooking your whatever you got in the bottles more and more, right? But that's how I do my water bath canning. This is the one I just did. This was done back in March of last year, so 10 months old. The color is different because it's a different squash, not because it has turned color. This bottom part here, that's the color it was when it went in to the bottle. It's a little bit getting light on top here. So now, when you remove the lids, as I was just saying about reusing lids, there is a lid remover that you can get. Little Mountain Ranch has it, that you can remove the lids without damaging them. The other way to do it, put your hand around the bottle, and this is just a small spoon. And with this finger, I'm applying more and more pressure, slowly, until the seal lets go. Now, so I haven't damaged this lid at all. I'm looking it over now. There's no damage on the finish or anything, so this lid can be reused. As far as this goes, smells just like when I put it in there. Perfect. Let's taste it. Tastes perfect. And I didn't put any vinegar in this. This is just straight squash puree. Done just like I just showed you 10 months ago. And not only that, my cold room, it's only cold during the winter. In the summer when it gets hot, the temperature does go up, but it doesn't get as hot as it does up here. It is still relatively cool, but basically in the summer it was sitting at pantry type temperature. The only thing that it didn't get is light. Don't leave squash puree out in a bottle like this getting sunlight. it'll degrade it in no time. I just finished editing this video and I had to do a closer. I uploaded a video, it's called Making Pumpkin Puree. Back in March the 31st is the date I uploaded it. That's what this is from. So you can go back and watch that one. I'll put it in the cards. And as I said, the only thing that might be different than what you would get in a can of pumpkin puree from the store is that the color drained out of the top part. It tastes exactly like it did when I put it in there. So 10 months, perfect for this one. Now this one I'm going to make another batch. Oh yeah, and I made 24 bottles and I didn't lose a one. This one I'm going to make another set, so I'll have 16 bottles at least, and I'm going to see how long some of them will stay. So I'm going to keep some of them and see how long they stay good. So I hope you enjoyed that. Yes, you can pumpkin puree, but you have to do it, like I say, slightly different than most other things. And my recommendation is to put the cold bottle of puree down to cold water, then bring it to a boil and boil it for 10 minutes. See you in the next video.